Yeah, but that's crazy, fractals, because even dreams are fractals. That's what I was thinking, like
Yeah.
when you were saying all of that. And if I were to think of the earliest dream I had, like that was super vivid, was a dream where I was falling into a planet from the outer atmosphere.
Mm.
And as I was getting closer to the planet, it was just having this crazy ass vibration that was so uncomfortable,
Mm.
that it was so like uncomfortable, and the noise vibration was like as I was getting closer, I had to wake up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was that about? Yeah. And to this day, I never really, I always think about it, but not really try to break it down of what was happening. But I just wanted to share that with you.
The thing with that is, like, that's why Carl Jung's work's amazing. You know, he goes beyond the brain, beyond psychology, or you can call it psychic psychology, where because of quantum physics, because of the entanglement theory, we're able to bring the spiritual experience, these anomalies to existence, so we can explain it. So a lot of the people who go to the shamanic rituals,
Mm-hmm.
man, they experience that different levels of reality and vibration, leaving Earth or coming back to Earth. So it's not just a hallucination, because we're discovering that our brains are all connected. We actually, it's not an accident. We feel people's vibes. We know a person if they're cool or they're not cool. But for me, everybody's cool. It's just that they need to find their authentic self, or they need to heal the trauma, and then they become their real self.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, man, the dream that you had like plays a very big role, because you can be inspired by it, all right, or you can analyze it where you'll understand yourself more. And then if you understand yourself more, guess what? You're more authentic. You can help more people, because a doctor or a scientist can only help people if they know their tools. Our tools is our brain and our intuition and our heart feeling and our gut feeling.
Yeah.
And people forget that. We're still reptilian brain vessel with wisdom. We need to combine all those things, because if that's
define a reptilian brain.
Well, the reptilian brain is the ego-like, very protective. If you mess that up, it will bite, or it will project bad words.
Oh, wow.
But we're slowly discovering, luckily, to new psychology. A lot of these psychologists are studying art also. They're doing a different form of healing, not just the mind, the heart. And we forget that. So we can tame it. Mm-hmm. It's good to have the ego. Like I used to compete bodybuilding, it's all ego. And I actually hurt myself a million times. And I didn't know I was hurting myself. Yeah. Because I just want to be bigger, stronger than everyone. Mm-hmm. Or when you do boxing, I just want to... But thing is that once you discover the ego is just a part of you, you don't eliminate. There's no more elimination from now on. From now on, it's only integration. If everything's integrated, all your beautiful side, strong, weak side, guess what happens? When the time is right, you can use that. If there's a fight, you go use the feminine side. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, love, bro. What happened? Because a person's fighting if they're angry. A person's really fighting if there's no choice, but there's always a choice. Because I've seen this before when I was hanging out with my homie Tech before. There's this big fight. And this big dude's like... big dude was like, no one wanted to mess with him, and he's beating up this other cat.
Alpha male?
Alpha male, right? And I was like, man, he's going to kick my ass. You know what he said? Yo, love. 300 pounds, all muscle. Love. He looked. at us, and I was like, they're blocking him. I was like, oh shit, look at me. He looked and he nodded and he stopped. So communication with the feminine side is very powerful. Masculine is powerful too, but you only use it when you really need to. You know, discipline when you only need to.
Yeah.
But if you have balance, guess what? You don't have to do a lot of things that are needed.
So do you have any spiritual practice that you go towards?
Wow.
That you gravitate towards, or?
This is going to be like a book. I'm actually writing a book, so.
Are you really?
Yes.
Wow. I learn something new from you all the time. Writing a book, and
I'm writing a book, and
a life coach, which
life coaching, and
that's cool.
I gotta share what I inherited from yourself and all the awesome artists and my experience in life. But I was born and raised Roman Catholic. I didn't have a choice. That was
like myself, yeah.
Yeah, like Filipinos usually Roman Catholic, and then my grandpa was a Jehovah. So I learned that too.
Oh.
My grandma is a Baptist, so I go to Sunday Baptist church also. My mom is a Christian, so I go to Christian church too. But my friends are Muslims. My other friends are Buddhists. And then I have a bunch of coworkers and friends who are atheists.
Mm-hmm.
So I just been observing people, their beautiful journey and their growth. Before I was very judgmental, and that's my old self. And if I judged you before, you know, I'm human. I'm learning. But
totally.
But I discovered a couple of years ago that it's not the book written, no matter how holy it is. It's the person reading it. So when you open a book, you can tell a person, and there's no judgment here. It's just that I've been there too. I've been the judgmental. I've been the not so great person. But I noticed that if a person opens a book and they say hate, you're going to burn here, you're going to burn there, they carry a lot of pain.
Yeah.
But if the person opens the book, they go, oh, forgive, love, hug that person. Ooh.
The crazy thing about books that I've been thinking about recently is that books have created religion or inspired religion. Can we go back to a certain time and say that a commercial or a podcast has started a religion or has started a spiritual practice versus literature, which also shows how powerful books and literature are. And if you go back, I was having a conversation with my partner recently, and we were just dissecting all of that, because if you think about literature, it was for the elite.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the days. Only few
could read.
Yep.
Only few can write and actually make ink and paper.
Absolutely.
And so that type of form is it could be possibly propaganda as well.
Yeah.
But it's very, very powerful. The books are so powerful. They create religions.
They if you go to the progenitor of things, it's channeled information.
Channeled information, because a book is written by a person.
Here's the problem, and when I say a problem, it's not an issue. It's just my perception of a person writing it. If I was channeled information to write down that something holy, my bias will show up there. You know, my bias will show up every time. What my favorite color will show up there, my favorite people, my favorite food. So that's the problem with writing. That's why the ancient, they talk about it. Lao Tzu, and there's a guy before him, I forgot his name, but yeah, you can't really name truth, because once you name it, the bias will show up. That's why you meditate. Why? Because the inner truth cannot be told, cannot be shared with words, because another person with the experience will the interpretation won't be the same. So that's how I see it. But you're absolutely right. A lot of it is definitely to scare people, you know, to make people follow a group, and nothing's wrong with that. I think it's a part of our evolution.
Mm-hmm.
To okay, I like this bottle. How about this bottle here?
Yeah.
And then, but we need to learn to keep on moving. Okay, I mastered this. Let's go with this one here, and this one here, and later on, guess what? How come these amazing sages have so much wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get stuck in ideologies. They keep on moving. They keep on moving.
Like a river.
Moving. Yeah, that's beautiful. There you go. When you say like a river, that explains everything. Life is like a river. You can't stay here. It'll keep you.
Unless you go in the side pockets of the still ponds, which Krishnamurti talks about that, and also Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee studied Krishnamurti, as well.
Yeah.
But water.
They studied Lao Tzu.
Be like water, my friend.
Be like water.
Lao Tzu for sure.
Yeah.
I usually hear about Lao Tzu from older generations.
Tao Te Ching. Man, I probably listened to that book like 33 times.
Yeah.
It's an
the
amazing
Tao
book.
of Ching.
Yeah, Tao Te Ching. Beautiful book. I would buy it, I would give it away. And it never comes back anyways. Yeah. But now I just listen to it. Like when I'm at work, I'm plugged in and I work and have wisdom that keeps on giving, because it's forever changing, because it's your mood that dictates what information you carry. So yeah.
So would you say your spiritual practice is it seems like it's on a wide spectrum of a learning.
Yeah, it's too
an education.
I love people who practice and preach religion, but I'm more, I love people. That's my religion. I love people, no matter what color.
That's a good religion.
Yeah, even though if you love me, I love you. If you don't love me, I love you more. And I'll be annoying about it until I break the shell. And if I can't break the shell, I leave you alone. And that happened to me a couple of times. You know, some people, they're not ready to heal.
Yeah. And people don't want help sometimes.
No, they don't, because it's painful. It's painful to face reality that reality. Some people, they carry that reality of darkness and pain as a tool, because that's a wall, because no one can cross that. But the problem is,
it's a boundary.
It's a boundary. As you get older, that wall that protects you becomes your prison. And that's the thing that hurts me when I see people, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been a prison of myself.
There are also good boundaries though. In
boundaries, number one.
Yeah.
If you learning healing from yourself or other people. Yin and yang.
Yin and yang.
So absolutely, I resonate with that. Number one, boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm learning that a couple of years, not even that long, but yeah. I get too excited, so that's my boundary. You know, like, relax. I'm trying to reach your level, bro. You're like,
no,
you're just like chill.
I'm not. I just want people to know that I am not on any level. Like, I am no perfect person at all.
He's too humble, but yeah, thank you. See, I'm trying to reach that level.
My partner would be rolling her eyes by now.
Really?
Yeah. Can you turn your mic a little?
Oh, sure.
You could just turn it like this, like that. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. But who do you usually see yourself gravitating towards in terms of like for me, I gravitate towards Krishnamurti a lot.
Oh man. Krishnamurti, years and years ago. I love Krishnamurti because he doesn't answer your question. Never answer the question. He asks a question, he'll answer it back, and then you would answer for him. So he's like one of the amazing gurus that there's a word for that, I forgot in Japanese, but he would throw it at you.
Yeah, it seems like he doesn't want to put upon you his own ideologies.
No,
he wants you to think for himself.
That's a real guru, or that's a real teacher, because he's not. His ego is shut down to a point that it's like, hey, you know what? You can ask me stuff, but you're gonna answer it yourself. And when you're done, keep on asking until you find a deeper interpretation of your truth.
He's super constantly thinking, right? And a cool thing that happened recently, a friend and I were just on a Zoom call, just having a discussion, and he actually asked me where do I gravitate with my spiritual practice, and so I asked you the same thing, and we started talking about Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
And then once we were speaking about Krishnamurti, we had another friend jump on the call, a third friend, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know Krishnamurti. I actually went to his school."
That's crazy.
Back in the day, I think it was in India, he was saying. And one of the practices that the school had them do, very, very strict about, was for the students to watch the sunset every day. You had to watch the sunset. And I thought that was really interesting. And really
sun gazing. That's another form of meditation. American Indians, they do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you get information. The plants get information. All right, that's the reason why they grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the protein synthesis. I think that's what you call it.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
something with the light and
some with the light. But thing is that our eye. You seen these American Indians? I never seen any of them with glasses, and they sun gaze. I've been doing that since I was very young. And they're like, "No, you can't look at that. You're gonna be blind." And people telling me that they're wearing glasses. I'm like,
so was it just natural for you? Just like, oh, I want to sun gaze? And
it's weird. I think we have biological tendencies or programs that we carry from the past. That's another conversation. Then we reflect it here in this lifetime.
Yeah, the good stuff and the bad stuff.
It has to be equal, because you're not gonna, how do you say that? Life is good. Star Wars is good. Why? Because everything was perfect? Heck no. Because he survived. He went through hell and back. And these are just representation of who we are really fighting. Our father is in our DNA.
In our DNA.
It's in our DNA. Our mother gave our DNA. And then who are we fighting at the end? At the end of every hero's journey, we conquer it. Do we conquer that person? No. We conquer ourselves. And that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. To answer your question, I have a lot. Neville Goddard, Jita Krishnamurti, yes. Wayne Dyer, Ramanujan, Swami Vivekananda, Einstein, Tagore. I mean, I can talk forever. There's so many people. Upanishads, amazing book. Yeah. The Bible's amazing book. Quran. Those who know themselves know God. That's in the Quran. How do you know yourself? By judging people? Hey, this person. No. You look in the mirror, you're like, and it takes a while, because you'll start peeling the layers of self. These are the programs we receive from our parents, friends, family.
What would be a pivotal moment in your life spiritually?
Oh wow, I died.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, pretty long ago. I was competing bodybuilding. I just separated from my ex. She's a beautiful person. I mean, all my exes are beautiful, or all the girls I dated before are beautiful. I learned a lot, and if I see them, and I wasn't that fantastic, I bow or I apologize, because I did not know. I didn't know I was all ego. I didn't know I was self-centered. I didn't know I was angry. But I was competing bodybuilding. That became my new addiction, because I was very insecure. A lot of people, they go, "Oh, I wish I was you." It's like, no, I hate myself. I would win left and right, but I never liked myself. Yeah. And then that day, my friends, I have a different group of friends, awesome friends, they brought me home. They're like, hey, let's go eat. Dinner. I went, like at 1 o'clock in the morning, so we went to this Chinese place or Vietnamese place. And there's like a whole bunch of Red Bull and coffee. And I was like, see, watch. And they said you shouldn't drink those if you diet down to like a very low fat percentage. But I drank it.
How many
Red Bull?
How many Red Bulls?
Like there's like, I think I drank Red Bull maybe like 3 of them at the bodybuilding competition, because there's some left. and then just like Vietnamese coffee.
And Vietnamese coffee?
Yeah, and I was like, see?
What made you want to drink all of that
Because to
caffeine liquid?
To show that, hey, you know, this is not gonna affect me. I'm superhuman. You know, the ego. You know, ego try to show that you're bigger or stronger, and then all of a sudden my heart went like, and my friend's like, "Are you okay? You don't look okay." It's like, drop me home right now. It's like, dude, they would listen to me because I was like, you know, I'm.
What year was this?
Wow, it was like 2007 or 2008, I think. Or 2008.
Yeah. And so your friend was driving you home?
Yeah, and they dropped me home, and I sat down. I was like, all right, you sure? I went in the house, and I looked in the mirror. All my veins was moving. And I was like, it's like the fucking Matrix, you know? I'm like, holy crap. I looked, and my heart was like, I was like, dude, I'm going to die. But I was working on myself already, you know, like forgiving, practice gratitude. Like all my enemies at that point, I don't have maybe one that I couldn't let go here in the brain and the heart. And then the only thing I could think of was my mom. You know, my mom is like, who's gonna, because finally we're getting along.
Oh wow.
You know, finally we're getting along, and you know, she learned how to say I love you.
Yeah.
And first time she said that, it's like, oh, you know, I'm not a fantastic mom. I was like, no, you did great. You did your best.
Wow.
And we cried. First hug.
Wait. So you were thinking about your mom?
Yeah.
And those experiences?
Those experiences.
Okay.
Because we finally, you know, we love each other, but we never see eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, I was like, my grandma died, you know, and I didn't get to say I love you. That's why being like here in America, you know, when you hear people, oh, I love you, mom, like that, we don't understand that. It's like this corny shit. You're like, I love you.
That makes sense though, because
you know,
what happened with George Floyd at the end when he was like dying, he called out for his mom. But his mom wasn't there. Like I believe she passed away. I don't know the full story, but I just heard that he was calling for his mom. Like, yeah, and we forget
the love that's given to us, and that's why that's really sad, because if we don't share the love and it ends, but if we share our love and we project it and we make them feel it, and they go, that's beautiful. At least you're around that person. Yeah. And you're there, and you know that person's supported. Because when they transcend this body, I've been there, that's why. They go there and they go, ooh, I am love. They would like literally like look at you before they go, and getting goose pimples right now. They're loved. That's the most beautiful thing to go. Damn.
Because it's that connection, right? And multi-dimensional connection that you have with your ancestors, your parents, and what brought you here today. Yeah. So you were back to your story. You were thinking about your mom. Yeah. Like during that time, and then what else was going through your mind? But I was like, I've been working on it, and everything was like good. It's just that who's gonna hug her? You know, like say I love you, because she doesn't know that. Yeah. But now, before I start the story again, my mom, every time I go visit her, that's so beautiful, man. Before I'd be like in tears, you know, but she'd go, hey, Joe, I love you. You know, I hope you find the perfect girl, and I hope you win the lottery. If that's how she is, I love you. It's like, Mom, it's 12 o'clock at night. But I love you too, Mom. And then hug her, you know. I never thought that would happen. But anyways, I saw my face in the mirror. All my veins was moving. I would go like this, and my heart was like pumping. And then I was like, what's going to happen? Who's going to hug her? We're going to say, I love you. Because my sisters, my brother, they didn't know before, but they're doing it now. That's why it's amazing. It's beautiful. I heard a voice. And you know, when you say a voice, it could be the collective subconscious in psychology. It could be God in religion. It could be Gaia, the mother
the motherly figure that protects every single person here on earth, whatever that is, it says let go. She's okay, she'll be fine. And I let go and I pass out on my bed, and all of a sudden I open my eye just like that, boom, and it was like day, like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have this thing, that hole in my ceiling. It's like where the light comes out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What you call that?
Ceiling light.
Ceiling light.
Yeah, I think it's
something like that, right?
Something like that.
It like hit my face, but it's not it. I went somewhere. I you know when you had a crazy dream and you like try to recall.
Yeah.
I was like, I was there. I was like, there's no hate. There's no anger. There's only love. People talk about like hell and all that. I was like, I didn't see none of that. There's a lot of forgiveness, but I felt like, how come I'm still here? Why did I get ejected out? So what I did was like, I wasn't sure. I'm gonna double check. I pinched my skin. I almost ripped it because I was still wired. All that coffee, big fat bruise.
Yeah.
Instant, and I jumped, and I was like, whoa, man, I love you. Thank you. And after that, I mean, I've been
to yourself,
to myself, because everyone is yourself. If all you have to do is go to YouTube, there's a lot of scientists, there's a lot of Marines, there's a lot of cops, lawyers, and there's a neurosurgeon. You can look him up on YouTube. Who neurosurgeon, very smart, knows the brain. He was like, dude, we go somewhere. If you die, you go somewhere. But you have to face yourself. Meaning, if you've done stupid shit, guess what? Face it. Forgive yourself. And then when you pass that, guess what happens? You go to the place where we all started. And when I tell this to people, I'm like, don't ever believe what I say, but don't disbelieve. Always research. And you'll find a bunch of people. And then you get the synchronicity. You like, I met you, and then we're like, when we talk, it's like, I known you for like 20 million years. Yeah. That kind of synchronicity will happen. And there'll be a lot more healing, because if you have two people healed, or they resonate with each other, and they're authentic every time they kick it, the people around them, when they see them, it's like, wow, these are like freaking awesome energy. I want to be like that. They don't even know what you're doing. Yeah. So that's the spirituality that I'm exposing, sharing to the world in my art. Yeah. Because that's how I think we evolve. We become the real artists we're meant to be. So
yeah, and your art does show a lot of like vortexes, mandalas, and I'm gonna bring up your. Do you have a website that you
I have Art Only, the recent one. Yeah. It's a Resonance for Your Flavor. Resonance for Your Flavor 333. That's Art Only, and then you can go check out.
Wait, is that Instagram or
Instagram?
Oh, yeah. Instagram. Let me get onto Instagram real quick. But is that what you started making when you were mandalas?
Oh, when I was young, well, the very first mandala was the spiral. Yeah. I was sharing that earlier, but when I was 3 years old, that's when I discovered that I understand fractals, because they asked me, "Hey, how old are you?" And I was like 3, and I went like this. I closed my hand. I looked. I was like, "Wow, this is eternity." That's what my brain said when I was like 3 years old, and I started seeing the number 33 everywhere I go. Yeah. Even back in Philippines, and when I do study, I never studied. I was so lucky, I have awesome friends. But
so were you doing art when you before or during the time that you were bodybuilding?
Yeah, I was doing art since I was back in Philippines. Okay. And I would draw people or cartoons, but thing is that with me, sometimes I evolve fast, not because I mastered what I'm doing. I just get bored, and then I'm like, I don't want to do it no more, and I forget how to do it.
Yeah, look at that.
So yeah, that's like the world we go in. If you take a picture, if you take it only, but if you're not taking a picture, that's all light. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's an organic and mechanical side of existence and nature.
And I see DNA and
Yeah, that's how we evolved.
Yeah.
That's how yeah, and that one is
I love seeing your evolution. You've evolved a lot since I first met you,
thanks, man. Appreciate.
and it's
So that's me looking for the key. And then if you check there, there's a cat and a mouse. So we're always playing hide and seek. That's
Hide and
the Lila,
cat and mouse,
like Tom and Jerry, you know.
Tom and Jerry.
Yep. And there's the three females there. You know.
I only see one.
So the one on the right, the one on the left, and the one at the middle.
Oh, I see the one on the left.
Yeah. The one at the middle, there's like a hand. See that? The shadow
The
self.
shadow self. I can't see it, but I know it's there.
It's there.
That's good stuff. Remember who you want to be.
Yeah, and the key there, I bought this, what you call that, a sharpener, and I was like, oh, cool, it dropped. That's why synchronicity, right? It dropped on the thing where it was at, literally, and I was like,
and you drew it on
and
there
I drew it there.
when it dropped.
So
There's good old Jimi Hendrix.
oh yeah, I did it for a manager for work,
Mm.
and then my boss like, dude, you're really gonna put a blunt there? It's not even legal yet. I was like, dude, that's not. How dare you judge me? And yeah, all those people,
Yeah.
you know.
And
I
you meet a lot of people through art, don't you?
dude, I met you, I met Brandon, I met Patrick. There's a lot of beautiful people, you know. Brian and Cherry, man. I if I name all names, man, it's gonna be a podcast for like days. I'm just grateful. Man.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's also really cool hearing the perspectives and the evolutions of people and visually with their art.
Yep.
Because we've been doing this for a while.
Damn.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. At one point, I was part of Collide Gallery.
Oh, you're not there no more.
I'm not there anymore.
I did not know
Just
that.
last year,
Oh, really?
end of last year. I have to step out. I just haven't had time to.
Well, you have here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This process right here is my other creative endeavor.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully I could put out some school education, art education, and who knows, the spectrum is wide
Yeah.
for anything creative, really. Yeah.
Well, right now anything is possible, and with your energy, you just let it flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you do that, you reach the Bruce Lee mentality, or a Bruce Lee projection. You know, what does that mean? You just, when you project, you just manifest that reality,
Mhm.
because there's no expectation. It's just love to create,
Yeah.
and that's hard to copy.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, including myself,
Mhm.
before I create because I want people to like me. You know, I create because, but the more healing that you do on the personal level, the more you let go of these. I mean, they're not bad. It's just
Yeah.
a level of things that you need to integrate
Mm-hmm.
and then release.
Yeah.
So
Because it all comes part of the whole process.
Yeah.
Is you're gonna do something because we've all had the thought of wanting people to like us.
Yeah.
With what we're doing,
mm-hmm.
right? And then it just evolves from there. And for me, at some point, I was just falling in love with the whole
The process.
of it,
Yeah.
and just like, man.
Boom. Same
And-
here, bro.
And just everything that you do in life, it sort of like meshes together at
Yeah.
some point and integrates, and it's just amazing to see your skills evolve.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yours
Yeah.
too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're like, I still have the one you gave me. It's like a fractal of animals. I think you forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was way back in the days. I was like, man, seriously? So I'm grateful for that. I would look at, that's how I inspire myself. I look at the energy that you put there, and you know, if you're an energy healer, you know, you get inspired with pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's given by a person, it's way higher here. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make anyone special, but to me, that's how I feel. But to you, may not be it. Like, oh yeah, I'm not even chilled out. I was like, dude, you remember me before? I'm like, every time I show up, like, it's like rock and roll. It's like, dude, relax, bro. It's like 2:00 in the morning. It's just I have that natural energy that I need to learn how to channel.
Not that it's a bad thing.
Oh yeah, but sometimes it's too much, you know. That's why it's like, so that I'm learning the balance, the chilled out thing, you know.
Yeah, and that's cool that you're going not just art, you're doing life coaching as well.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about anything about?
Selective. I'm kind of like I have a full-time job, so I work for I'm grateful for where I work at. It's a French company, so thank you. That pays the bills and
totally.
you know, everything and the food, you know. But there's another form of currency that I like exposing or expressing, which is the healing part of things. So it helps me a lot. And the life coaching, it's so weird. A lot of people is like, man, that's woo-woo stuff. Well, you know, people heal from the trauma, from old pain. And like what I said, you know, healing, you don't heal. No one heals anyone. No one. You inspire a person. If they're hurting inside or there's something inside, you know, you give them an environment that they can be themselves. And then when they're balanced, their biology, if it's baseline. If it's baseline, you breathe through your stomach instead of your freaking
shallow breathing. Yeah.
So that creates amazing hormones in your body that heals.
Yeah. And
then the mental side, it's the same thing. If you gave them a beautiful environment for them to express fully and safely, and there's heart, a lot of heart. Guess what happens? You know, they're able to face their own personal. We call them demons. I call them inconsistency in the brain. Because yin and yang won't exist if one is missing. So the ego, yes, the ego is powerful. Let it lift the weight. But when you're done, meditate. People look at me weird. I'm like, whoa, at the gym before when it was open. And then when I'm done, I'm like at one corner. But right now, everybody's doing it.
That was a good Om.
How does it? Right. I practice actually yesterday.
That was good.
I'm pretty sure you meditate.
You centered
too.
Me when you just started Oming. I was like,
you see the baby? Stop crying.
No, that makes sense. And the main thing that I'm getting out of this is
I'm still learning too. So I'm still learning.
Yeah, constantly learning, and things don't happen overnight. In order to master something, it takes time. Even
a lot of work.
Like I've been having myself some pivotal growth spurts in a way, or having discussions, really uncomfortable discussions. Like, for example, my own privilege. And
explain. You gotta explain that.
Yeah. So part of it has evolved from the Black Lives Matter movement. I feel like, and before I had discussions with my partner and getting called out on privilege, and I would be very defensive and reactive in the beginning. For example, like, I'm not woke, right? You go back to sleep, you wake up, you go back to sleep, you wake up. That could be a form of just constantly working on yourself. And when someone's saying that you're privileged, it's already like, I become defensive, and I'm like, you're privileged too. What are you talking about? We're all privileged. But that's not the point.
That's not the point.
That was never the point.
There's truth there, but that's not the point.
Yeah. And the point is that we're in a systemic, like, white supremacy type of colonizer upbringings. It's very rooted, like, even back to our own people in the Philippines, which I just learned recently. 400 years ago, which I think, or it's either 400 years ago or 1400s, the Philippines was sacked by the Spaniards, and my partner, she's taking a lead Filipino course with very, very insightful educators.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one thing that they were practicing where they had to read out this prompt where it was like, my name is, and this was a Tagalog name, or what it was called before. It might have been Indo. They call it Indo, or I may be butchering this, but they would say their name like, oh, my name is, and I'm from the village of like Mindoro or something, where 60-70% of my village were murdered, and I am the only survivor. I was baptized. My name is now Spaniard name. So the people who resisted were killed, and the people who accepted were assimilated and baptized. And I grew up Christian, Catholic, went to private school my whole life, which shows my privilege as well.
Yes.
And it took a little while to uproot that from my ego, my own ego.
Yeah.
And just notice it and see it instead of being defensive of like, no, we're all privileged. But there is like very, very strong systemic privilege in it as well. But also in the form of Black Lives Matter. Like, we wouldn't know what the Black community is going through because the stuff that happened to them has been very recent. The slavery, taken from their homeland and brought to America. And I just started noticing things about myself, just like being defensive and not really doing my research and educating myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's there's different layers of awakening.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Thank you for, man, you're too humble. Being woke doesn't mean you're a special person. That means you're very aware. A lot of people, they call it enlightenment when you reach that level. No, when you're enlightened, you separate from everything. And you basically don't even feel anything anymore, which is good, but to me it's not. All right, you have a physical body. I want to experience and explore the contrast of life. You're very aware. You're very aware. So yeah, thank you for being humble, because I'm learning how to be humble.
Well, thank you.
So you're very few. Yeah, I feel like you're woke. All right.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
And I go back to sleep.
And they go back to sleep because that's a biological trait that we gravitate to. It depends on our emotion. It depends on our surroundings. It depends on what's happening on us financially. All those stuff people forget. But the way I think, and since I was a kid, I carried this. That's why I never liked it before, because I think too deep. So this is how I talk to with my friends, my coworkers, different colors. I love my brown, I love my black, I love my white, I love my red, I love my yellow people. But it's a cycle. And when I say this, it's not being insensitive. I love, and there is so much pain caused to the black community for the longest time, and the red community that we barely talk about. So there's a cycle that's happening that is triggering, exploiting what's happening that's hidden. In order for us to fix the problem, guess what? We have to wake up, not woke. All right? Wake up to be more aware of what's happening. And what does that mean? The semi-woke people, which is just semi-aware, will throw things. Fuck you. I hate you.
Yeah.
They deserve to express that. The a little bit more aware people would go, hey, hold on, you seen this? Black people protecting cops that got separated? What is that? How come they don't show that on TV? And then the woke, still more aware, or really woke. Guess what? They're the one who goes for a place in politics, and they really push things. Hey, love. They don't say Democrats. They don't say Republican. They don't say this group of people here are hateful. No, they go, hey, let's talk about this. And I gotta add this, all right? A lot of people, they would think, oh yeah, white people this, white people that. You know, there's so many. If you go back to the Million March way back in the days, you know, there's a whole bunch of black people there, but you see dots of white. I was like, when was that? Oh, it's white people there too. I was like, impossible. And then you look closer. Oh, there is a bunch of white people there. So yes, absolutely, we need to project, get this out, go out there, rally, but at the end of the day, meditate and figure out, why did I do that? What's happening inside also?
Mm-hmm.
But I will help my brothers and sisters, but at the same time have clarity and balance, so we do not repeat this old pattern. Yes, this is Maya. Yes, this is Leela, the great play. But the reason why we're here is to have an experience. And if we're going to have an experience, it's experience for growth and prosperity. Because if you stay with growth and prosperity and balance and clarity, we all win. It's just the old archetype of the male, masculine, the egotistical way of representing things. Patriarchy. It's really tiny now. It doesn't mean it's bad or good. It's just that the old control system needs to, unfortunately, to surrender. What does that mean? Surrender means one is gonna win, one's gonna lose. No, you're gonna let freedom. And guess what? The feminine energy, and it's happening right now, it's destroying the masculine energy that oppress. But it will eventually balance out again, like a yin and yang. There's no accidents in this reality, and that's in quantum physics. There's no accidents in this reality. That's like the book of life. I forgot what you exactly call it. There's a pattern to our existence. From point A to point B, you're alive, you're dead, and then you have this pattern you go to in life. It's like Groundhog's Day. The question is, are you repeating the same pattern? Do not, because I did. That's why I'm doing this art thing. I'm teaching people how not to be an asshole, because I was the asshole. You know, I can't judge because I'm the most judgmental.
Yeah.
And then the last one is, if I ever get mad at you, I'm a hypocrite. I tell people that, and I bow and I'm sorry, because I'm tired of being angry and pointing my finger.
Yeah.
When a lot of the work can be done by me instead of other people. So I love the healing. That's what's happening right now. That's what I concentrate on. And what you're doing right now, exposing what's unneeded, not needed anymore. We need to change it. And that's a beautiful thing, because we're aware of it.
Yeah.
If we're aware, we can change it. If we're not aware, guess what? Nothing's going to change.
Totally.
Yeah.
I definitely thank you for that, sharing that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes, yeah, I guess. But thank you.
No, because you were talking about how you want to speak more in a rooted form.
Yeah.
Is that what? Did I hear that right?
Rooted form. Yeah.
More grounded.
More grounded, deeper, reflects the ancestral ideologies of the blacks, the whites, the brown, the yellow, and my beautiful reds. Yeah. We need to go back to nature more.
Yeah.
We need to go back. Hey, you can watch football,
we go back
boxing,
to nature.
MMA. That's a spiritual thing, because you connect with people. But this time around, invest some time in nature with the elders. Here, there's a lot in the United States. Beautiful people with drums.
Yeah.
You know, with a different form of healing. I've seen it. I've been there. I watch these people two different culture that literally destroyed each other
Yeah.
that night. All right, and then angry, but that morning when it was done, they're hugging each other. I love you. I'm sorry. Tears.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see, not tears of anger, but anger. It's a healing. It's a form of healing. We forget this. Depression is it's a form of healing, because if you're depressed, you close down to the world. You're meditating. It's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
And then when you get angry, you project. You know, fuck you. Da 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 da. That's another form of healing too, because you're not destroying self. You know, you're projecting. And then the third one, everything comes in threes, is when you have the aha moment, when you find clarity within the pain, because pain is the most amazing teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bodybuilder. I know this. I won bodybuilding not because I was comfortable. Man, I couldn't walk every day for years and years. I can, you know, I was like always in pain.
Yeah.
But is that good or bad? No, it's just an expression of how you travel this reality.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Oh, thanks.
I was gonna say something in between that. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, the ancestors, the healing.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the ancestors. It was very interesting. If it weren't for the Black Lives Matter movement,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be as curious and willingful to look into my own history connected to the Filipinos, and not realizing also Philippines was from the name King Felipe. Was that true? Which was a Spaniard.
Spaniard, yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder like what it was called before that.
Whoa.
Do you know?
We used to have. I used to know these because if you don't memorize it, you know, you get in trouble in school. Anyways, yeah. Before we used to have a lot of gold. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're like a rich
Dang.
island. If and you'll discover this, you'll do more research, and we have our own writing. They look like Hindu writing.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot of our writing is influenced by the Eastern way of exploring consciousness.
Yeah.
That's why I love researching all culture. You know, like the Hindu, they understand that this is an illusion, and Elon Musk talks about that now. Oh, this is like a simulation, like whatever, it's a simulation. But they've been talking about that. We knew that, but we lost it because of the cycles of time. That's what happens. If you check the Egyptians, original Egyptians, they're black. They ruled the world, literally. The Moors. Moors.
Did you ever hear about those?
You know,
the Almerians, the
Sumerians.
Sumerians.
Oh yeah, man, I love that, man.
Wasn't that they built a wall
Sumerians-
by Fremont?
Say again?
Was there like a wall that was built near Fremont, like a bunch of stones that were just like planted, not planted, but it's just like a bunch of rocks that are placed in
Fremont
in a wall format. Like it stretches from like Fremont to Berkeley.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But
And
there's a lot of ancient structures here, or pyramids here, literally in the United States.
Which were
but they're hiding
before
it.
the Native Americans, right?
Way before. And yeah, there's a lot of mind filtering that happened because that's how it is. And that's when I share with people. Sometimes they're so angry, and I was like, dude, if let's just pretend, right? You and me, right? Way back in the days, we're the one who's the rulers, right? And then I don't like you, but I like you. So yeah, let's just clear that. I like you, right? But I don't like you because you took my gold sticks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna destroy all your history. I'll take all your history and I'll put my history. You know, it's not Michael. It's Joe Michael. You know, it's always like my fingerprint on everything, and that's what happens. If you check all these ancient structures around the world, like the one in Lebanon, these beautiful structures that were built but I don't know, not the Greeks, but I think the Romans. If you check at the bottom, there's one big slab of like 1,000 ton built on top of it. So there's ancient civilization that existed way before our history, and it's hidden too. Why? Because it's in our nature to put our fingerprint. So yeah, Sumerian text, that's another awesome story, but that's not old.
Yeah.
That's like new, 6,000 years, you know. Yeah.
Oh, so these guys, they were called the Lumerians.
Lumerians. Oh, that's like during
Lu-
Atlantis. That's during
Lumerian.
Atlantis, man.
Let's look them up real quick.
Yeah. That's like the
Atlantis. Who are the Lumerians?
missing islands, bro.
Oh, Lumerians is a San Francisco Bay Area based quartet.
No,
which
no, no,
has
not
a
that.
psychedelic mind bender space rock
Holy
sound.
crap. That got legalized in or decriminalized at Oakland and Santa Cruz, and it's opening up a lot of new doors to healing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
There's a whole bunch of things, but
yeah,
not specific to what I was talking about.
Lumerian.
That's crazy.
That's just old myth, but we're slowly discovering they're not. Like Hindu, they've been talking about, oh yeah, we've been existing for millions of years.
Mm-hmm.
And like, nah, it's not. Like the earliest is like 2,500, 3,000 years, like the Egyptians and the Mayans. Nope. And then the Sumerians showed up. Sumerian buildings, you know. I was like, oh no, there's another one in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
In Turkey, there's another one, 12,000 years. And then there's a lot of stuff underwater now that we're discovering
Mm-hmm.
that's not supposed to be there, because they're all of them like 10,000 years.
Yeah. We are always making art, as you can see.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you're gonna go there? The pine cone.
Oh, the pineal
The
gland. Is that the
oh.
representation of a pine cone?
That's a beautiful representation of the third eye. Even the Vaticans have that. If you check their pictures, they have pine cones, Egyptians, the snake,
These
the
guys
Kundalini awakening. All of that is just.
These guys look like they are being enslaved. It's kind of crazy how far back that goes.
Yeah. It's I think our generation, we need to learn to erase that and just be like Star Trek, bro. Imagine if we spent all our money on wellness instead of profit. I'm not saying I love profit, don't get me wrong, you know, I work for a beautiful company, but we find that balance between profit and wellness. Ooh, imagine, right? So everybody's healthy here? Yes. Oh man, one is not healthy. Oh, we're not gonna get 10 grand. So make sure this person's healthy. Right?
It could be abundant for everybody.
I believe it's coming. You know, all ancient texts, they talk about this. The
Really?
apocalypse is just the unveiling.
So where do you see the where the future is headed?
Well, I'm because of what happened to me, that death, I came back. You know, I only see the good stuff. You know, the bad stuff are just triggers to wake up more people, so we love more people. And a lot of people, they would only see the bad things right now. It's like, no, why? How can you just see those things? Before, like 200 years, if I see you and you're a different color, you're dead, automatic. Right now, you go anywhere, a black dude, a white lady holding hands, an Asian lady with a black lady, like nothing. You know, it doesn't even shock you. But to some countries, they go, oh my gosh, you know.
Some cities too.
Some cities, but it's changing. Why? Because of the internet. You know, they call it the Aquarian age. It is the weirdest thing, right? So, oh, that's woo-woo stuff. But they predicted that during this time, we'll have exponential technology, and everything's gonna be transparent. That's just the first two. Right now, guess what? You can't hide shit no more. Right? Even politicians. You go outside, you take a leak, someone take a picture, and everybody sees you. Guess what? So there's there's transparency.
Mhm.
Everything is seen. And the technology we have now, I don't have to tell you. Remember when we had the tape before? Remember that? The tape?
Which tape?
The thing when you listen to music.
Oh, cassettes.
Cassette, right?
Cassette tape, yeah.
That wasn't that long. Now, when you look at that, these kids see that, they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So our technology is evolving like crazy, and they say this is the progenitor for that awakening.
Yeah, yeah. And
As a collective.
As a collective. That's
Yeah.
the key point, huh?
Yeah.
As a collective.
As a collective, because if I wake up, if I treat, I try my best to treat people right, and then a person sees that, they pass it.
Mm-hmm.
Like your confidence. See, I know you can be humble. I don't give a shit. Stop being humble. I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to reach that like confidence. Like yeah, chill out. Like yeah. I was like, wow. See, you don't see it. I see that.
Actually, I see a lot of chill in you and confidence.
Now, but before it was a mask.
Mm.
That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
It was a mask. So thank you again. I bow to people. Before I do this, because I was drinking. It's like, yeah, because I do that. It's like, yeah, pay respect. They say pay respect, right? When you're young.
Yeah.
So but now it's just automatic.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
What? Do you know anything about the Akashic records?
Oh yeah, bro. The Akashic record, Akashic or Akash or the sky, is like in Hindu terms, is and if you want to know more, and if you're a little bit more advanced, go check out Dolores Cannon. Oh, and if you want to if you want to be educated, I forgot his name. There's this doctor who died. He's a neurosurgeon.
Mm-hmm.
A neurosurgeon, so he knows more about the brain than both of us, right?
Yeah.
And he went somewhere, and he wrote a book, and it pretty much dictates that we're immortal. We don't die. We go somewhere, and then when we're done here, we go there, we collect information, and then we come back here again.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Why do you think these kids, being like, they're like 1 or 2 year old, they're like reading books, or they're good at like piano, never played?
Mm-hmm.
So we carry that in our biology, because our biology carries a lot of our ancestral memory. But guess what? There's also energetic in quantum physics.
Mm-hmm.
Every single information shared is entangled, no matter how much you separate them. Even if it's light years away, that's the theory of things. But the ancient people, they've been saying that. Like what I said, the pineal gland, the Greeks, the Egyptians, American Indians, you name it, they talk about it. There's an inner knowing, and it's in here somewhere. Jesus, it's even in the Bible. Let the I be one, I believe. I used to memorize all this, but and then your body will have light. I know I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but it's something like that. I can look it up. But you have to learn how to meditate. You don't have to die. That's what I tell people. You don't have to die. But you can die right now, meaning you let go of all this pain and suffering, or you start forgiving, or you forgive yourself. You don't have to tell a soul. You don't have to. I tell people that. It's like, because people ask me, right? So do I have to tell them what happened to me? No, absolutely not.
Who are they trying to tell?
Well, some people, they would tell me, I'm like, you're so blunt and honest. Maybe that's why you healed. It's like, I was insecure. I was angry. I was a bully to some people. But I forgave myself, or if I see them, I bow. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was that.
Mm-hmm.
But some people, they carry deeper pain. And they would ask me, do I have to share that? No, you don't. All you have to do is look in the mirror and touch the mirror. It's like a life coaching, weird woo-woo. Look in the mirror. I tried this before. If you're not ready, you probably throw up. You look in the mirror, I love you. But if you're ready and you keep on doing it every day, and you touch yourself in the mirror, like with healing intention, like
just like your experience, looking
yeah,
in the mirror as you felt like you're about to die.
yeah. You don't have to die. You just have to accept yourself and let go that everything is gonna be fine. It's a good investment for spiritual growth, is letting go of the beliefs that we have, because it's not real.
It's a very hard thing to do as well, if it's been rooted in your whole system,
Yes.
in your whole frame of mind, and just growing up in your own environment.
Yes.
All these structures and ideologies and rooted. It's hard to pull,
Habits.
and it's uncomfortable.
Yes. Believe me, I cried working on myself. That's why it's good to connect with the ancestors, whether they're your imaginary ancestors or your guides or your holy books, or you can go with the American Indians living here, or you can go to Peru and explore your consciousness without border. But you have to do a lot of personal work, like habits. When I say everything comes in threes, understand your masculine, your feminine, and your observing side. Your masculine side is the one who carries in your biology your testosterone, and the feminine side is your estrogen side, and then the one that observes, the one that don't judge, the one that just go, oh, all right, okay, sure. The other one goes, oh, don't do that, do this, and the other one goes. So you have a personal conversation. I share this with people. When you go to the park, all right, you need to have an honest conversation with self to heal, or to understand self. So you grab your headset so you won't look crazy. You put it on. At first you're like, yeah. And you go around the park 3 times. This is circumambulation. It's like a spiritual path to awakening, and there's different names for it. But you put it on, you ask questions. But you can't bullshit yourself. I've done it for far too long. That's why I understand. You cannot bullshit yourself. If you ask a question, answer it. But start with what's your favorite color? Before I have one, now I have all. I can't even answer that. Green, red, blue.
Yeah.
And then go deeper. What do you really want in life? Oh, I want the GTR Nismo. And then that's not what you want. But if I win the lotto, hey, you know what? Grab 2 of them, right? But you keep on going deeper, and later on you'll uncover it's not the material things, but you always have the material things with you because you live comfortably. A lot of people don't eliminate that. No, you don't eliminate things no more. You integrate everything. If you want to be a super guru, sure, you eliminate everything. But the more you go in deep, the more you find that you were just wearing masks, and you take it off later on. Seriously, and people have done this. They're like, dude, thank you. I was like, what? I have a story about, because I work at the warehouse, chemicals, and then trucks would show up, and some of them, they're angry, like, I hate my life, I hate my wife, I hate my everything.
Is it the conversation that they
the conversation tell you? The conversation they would tell me, and I'm like, all right, but I would plant seeds like, hey, have you ever tried the threes? It's like, what's that?
What is that?
The threes is if you're a driver, you don't have a choice but to drive. You can hate driving, or you can do something to distract yourself. So I was like, if you see a red light, you say 3 things about yourself, because you're going to stop. But great things. If you see a green, you say 1 and make it funny. And he was like, oh, explain. Well, like, this dude's white, right? He's angry. See, you have blue eyes. A lot of people, they put different eye color just to have your eyes. So be grateful for that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, okay. And then you can keep going with the eyes. Like, yeah, you don't wear glasses. Be grateful for that. It's like, oh, you have an eye booger. Be grateful for that, because you have eye booger, because if you don't, some people are blind and they're not even able to enjoy the eye booger. And he was cracking up. It's like, oh, yeah, that's funny. And he kept on doing that. It
sounds like talking to a child.
You got it. See? healer.
You got eye boogers.
So, so I didn't see him for a couple of months, and I saw him again. It's like, hey, how you doing? How's work? Oh, I'm not gonna get the raise, bro. It's like, oh, sorry. How's the wife? We're divorcing. Oh, how's the coworker? Oh, there was one asshole. Now there's three. I was like, oh, I failed, and I was like, how are you? I'm great, bro. Your thing worked. Those people, I don't even care. This is the divorce. There's a new journey for me, right? I never, if there's a release, there's also a receiving. So I'm learning a whole bunch of stuff from this person now. And then he was like, thank you, hug. Now I can't hug, because the corona. But so I practice on people because people been practicing on me, and a lot of people are like, what's that supposed to mean? Like, people's like, I got people that I'm trying to help, they like talk shit. You're like this weird Joe, and I was like, that's very hurtful. But if I get mad at that person, I'm a hypocrite. So that's what I practice now. It's like a level of mastery. Because when I get angry at a person, I was like, motherfucker. But I was like, oh, hey, sorry, bro. I love you, man. And then I bow, and then they're like, surprised. And then later on, they're like, hey, I'm sorry. I was talking shit about you, and I didn't know you're really cool. So that's healing for them and myself.
Yeah, there's like a point where you just have that awareness that you're talking about, where you have to be aware of like what you're feeling, and it's okay to be angry, right?
It's okay.
When you're angry, it's just good to notice it is the next step.
Yeah.
And as you're noticing it, really thinking. Really critically thinking.
Yeah.
And working on yourself.
With less judgment. But there's always judgment with less judgment.
Yeah. Then that's something I've been tapping into more.
Really, I'm like, I don't
recently.
see it. That's why I was like, you always been chilled and relaxed. That's why, I was talking to Polly, right? It's like, yeah, Michael's a fucking cool guy, like cool cat, and I'm like, yeah, bro. So that's why when you say something like that, I was like, what?
The thing is, you don't see all sides of everybody.
No.
Because what it takes to see all sides of everybody is being with them constantly. And there's no way that everyone can see all sides of every person but your own self.
Impossible. You're absolutely right in that one.
And yeah.
Wow.
All sides of the coin is not visible unless you're in a complete relationship with someone, like a partner.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
A significant other.
That's true.
They'll see all sides of you. And the mirror reflections that exist in between each one. And another thing that I've been working on is that critical thinking part. Because for some reason, when you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, there's a difference in, I guess, difference of a relationship with each other compared to like a friend, right? And especially if you're with each other all the time.
How long you guys been?
Almost 5 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
4 or 5 years, I think.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been good, and we've been working a lot on ourselves.
See, that's advanced.
They're their own person. I'm my own person, and having a discussion is also with your significant other sometimes, because you get used to each other. I'm no relationship coach or anything, but this is like my own interpersonal experience of just seeing sides of myself that I haven't been really working on it because it hasn't come up a lot, type of deal. Yeah. If that
that makes sense, bro.
Yeah.
That's actually that's what a lot of these life coaches are sharing more these days is you come in a relationship as a whole, or you build each other to make yourself a whole. Because a lot of people, they go in relationships like myself, I was the one who's lacking. People would bet money, like, I bet you was going to be in a relationship. And I was like, because I was my last I've been with like 1 year relation, but my 7 year, yeah, after 2 weeks, I was like ready for another one, you know. And then I luckily I was like, you know what? Let me find myself, because a lot of people that jump in relationships, they're missing, they're lacking, they're trying to find, you know, the heart, the crystal heart on another person. You cannot,
and you're distracted. I feel like that just made me think about distraction when you're talking about that.
Absolutely. It's a form of distraction, not to find yourself, because every single person in a journey, you know, like whether it's enlightenment or to be successful personally, you have to be whole. Because if you're whole and then you find another person that you think is whole, and then it collapsed and it didn't work out, and now that person leaves, you feel like, oh shit, I did something wrong. When absolutely not, because the relationship that you have, that you're doing right now, that you're exploring, that's the most beautiful thing, because you're growing to find yourself, not because you're lacking and you're trying to find from another person, or vice versa.
It's like listening to perspectives from other people. And like, for example, if you're hanging out with people that are just like you, same ideologies, same everything, I feel like it would be hard to grow as a person. But having a fresh person in your life with new perspectives, different outlook in life, different passions, it pushes you and nudges you to grow even further. And one thing that I've been learning is just doing more research on especially like social justice type things. And because at one point I was heavily doing research on spiritual matters and understanding, like Akashic records, lucid dreaming was part of my journey, because at one point my dad was sick and I was just taking care of him. And as I was taking care of him during my like off time, I would just try to look at research about people and the inner self. And art, working on art. Art definitely helped me with the just being creative and just creatively thinking and just constantly creating. And I didn't know where I was going at with
Well, let me add to that, dude.
Sure.
When you say constantly creating, and then it kind of shifted, right? Your journey. Now it's social
justice.
Now it's social justice. That's another art form of freeing the soul. You know that, right? The body or the ego is a program that we project. So we learn, a bad person, I don't even call a bad person. I call him a misaligned person. The chakra's not aligned.
And
but,
why are they unaligned?
They're unaligned because you have to look not just the outside or the news. You dig in deep. Some of them, they're like abused really bad when they're young.
Exactly.
Or their group of friends are not fantastic. The most amazing gurus, they go to jail. Why? Because they see them as normal human being. And what's the difference between running a four-way stop to going 100 miles? They're both breaking laws. And I'm pretty sure you've seen people, they just passed the four-way stop. That's law. That's law. The reason why it becomes more or exposed is if you make that four-way stop. Like, okay, if you do that, you go to jail. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's going to change. But that's not it. That's a masculine type of control. We need to bring the feminine side. And let me go back there. The people, I posted this before also on my Instagram, the people that, you heard this a million times, the hurt people are hurt people. Are hurt people. I was like, when I was young, I was like fighting. Because I was hurting in here. No one, my friends didn't knew. I was like angry. I was insecure. I was jealous.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are cool because I love them. But the people I don't like, I'm like, hey, knuckle up. And then I learned I was hurting. I call people names. I did not know that hurt them. So my thing is that yes, this is the new phase. This is another beautiful art form. You have mastered what you're doing with connecting with people. You're good. They can put you anywhere. A lot of people, they go to class not to freak out, just to talk to people. But when you're there, you're just like grabbing that. You explain your artwork, done, and people love you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you notice that, and the other stuff you do. But right now, this is a new pattern that you're creating, so people will understand the abstractness of this reality. It's beautiful if you can bring your artwork there. It's like, hey, this is the representative this and that, and your style is just about healing, though. Exposing and healing, not exposing and rejecting. No, you're exposing this so you can figure out how to heal a person, because these people that are doing really fucked up stuff, they've been, a lot of them, they go to school and then they just separate from the parents, and then they meet these friends, really rich people, and then, oh yeah, these people are like nothing. How do you think you're gonna grow? It doesn't matter what color you are. It's the program you receive.
Yeah, and the program that I received, I feel like has that I've noticed recently is things are just not in face value.
No.
It's just not face value. That's not just the surface, like you were saying about the books.
Yes.
And yeah, it's not just the surface.
No. You're gonna show them. You're gonna show them with your skills, with your art.
Yeah.
So you'll express. You'll rally differently. Not gonna be on the street, because you'll connect more with this new technology right now, and the people who would like this metaphorically or symbolically like this, would they hear you and they're like this? Look, I love it. Love metaphors, like, and then you go like this. Now they're listening.
Yeah.
They're not angry. They're hurting. Now you're healing them from the inside. Not you're not telling me you're a fucker. You fucked up. You did. No, you're like, yes, it's done. It's been done. What are we gonna do next? So.
And I feel like the theme recently also has been being grounded for me as well. Or I don't know. Or you're
explain.
Or that. Like you're mentioning earlier that you're not so just when you explain things, it's not going to just be like quantum physics and then just go out there. But there's some grounding to it.
Yes.
And not so as much just esoteric constantly.
No.
Right. Because
you got to be physically there for them to understand what you're trying to project. So, like the memes or the messages that we put out there is to make people see.
Yeah.
But because with your energy. Ooh.
Yeah, because at one point in my life, I was getting really spacey. As in, what first got me into it was probably lucid dreaming. If people don't know what lucid dreaming is about, it's about being aware inside of your dreams. And so once you're aware, you're able to just be fully conscious about that and knowing that this is a dream.
Yep.
And there was actually a school, not a school, there was a research lab in Stanford by, I think his last name was LaBerge, Stephen LaBerge. He was a scientist and who studied lucid dreaming. I'm not sure when it ended. He also wrote a book about lucid dreaming. And once I saw that, I just got heavily like, and going back to the power of books, like these books that I was reading really affected me religiously, on like not
religious or spiritual.
Spiritually.
Right.
When I say religiously, it's the form or definition of what religion is to me.
Oh, okay.
For example, coincidence. Because coincidence, people use that term not knowing that it actually happened, or it actually means happening at the same time, a synchronicity. So coincidence is synchronicity, but no, it's just coincidence. But coincidence is coinciding, right?
Yes.
And when I say religion, I feel like you really believe what is going on in this literature. And so it was two books that I was reading at the same time was the Lucid Dreaming book, and also a Carlos Castaneda book.
Oh yeah,
The Active Side of Infinity by Carlos Castaneda. And just a little background on that book: Carlos Castaneda was an anthropologist, and he went to study some Mexican shamans. And when he went there as an anthropologist, he actually was an apprentice to an apprentice to one of the shamans and became a shaman himself. I totally believed in the book. I'm not sure how much of it is real, or if this is even a biography or autobiography. But when I was reading it, I was taking everything to heart about dreaming and lucid dreaming. And so I became really into my dreams, where I just try to practice and look forward to going to sleep and then existing in the real world. And I was, in that point in my life, I felt like I became a little depressed, or I became depressed, and where I just wanted to exist in this dream world. And it's so interesting to even dwell in that type of practice. And that's what I mean by talking about being spacey. Like you just become out there and not so much grounded anymore. And fast forward, I feel like there's this balance now of the spaciness, kind of like my dream as a child, going into space and just like
floating up there.
And connecting like to the earth now, and just rooting into the earth, into the core of what it means to be a physical human being on this earth and experiencing everything. And there's like this, I imagine a rod now, just like,
so you found a balance. That's pretty good.
Finding a balance to the whole experience and grounding.
Well, that's like a shamanic journey that you experience. Anything that we do passionately, for me, is a shamanic journey. It's the hero's journey, because you go through different emotions. But because we are reaching the 2020 vision. 2020 vision.
It's been a crazy year.
The clarity, and meaning. A lot of people go, how can you call this clarity? We can see from the dark and light. It's there. It's like bouncing, fighting each other. It's good to have totality within the borders of our mind. For us, that's it. But because you found balance, right? Because before you just want to float out. I don't want this group of people, or I don't want this. That's my metaphor. I don't want this. I don't want that. But because we're reaching that stage again, is a cycle. Once you find that balance, it's easier to think. All right, it's easier to work. It's easier to handle people you don't like. It's very easy to handle the people you like. So now you're able to do what you're supposed to do. And you can incorporate that ideology or that lesson or that dream state to whatever you're doing right now. And that's what's happened to a lot of people. That I get, especially getting goosebumps, my feet everywhere. But a lot of people they're sharing. Boom. And right now you're like more chilled out, I guess, because you've never been not chilled out from me. You're sharing to the world, and this platform will only get bigger
Mm-hmm.
because you have the audacity to be authentic. Very few, but more and more these days, if they see this video or Joe Rogan or all these other new platforms to express themselves fully, guess what happens? Oh, that person's authentic. So I'll collect stamps.
Mm.
If you're authentic about it, you'll go places because you'll meet people that collect stamps. It may not be the stamp that's gonna make you rich, but the connection will.
Yeah.
My art, it brought me here. It brought me to you. I learned so many things.
Yeah.
Mandalas. So
And if I didn't go on my art path career, I wouldn't have met you either.
see,
Yeah.
no accidents.
Out of 7 billion people.
7 point some billion
point
people.
billion people, yeah.
And
But yeah, no, it makes sense too about the clarity.
Yeah.
It's also showing in our air.
mm-hmm.
The whole world has been on pause, and the sky has never been so clear.
Yeah. Blue.
And it would have never been this clear ever.
Yeah.
Because no one was going to stop.
The ozone layer healed itself. They say it's going to take thousands of years. It healed. Why? Because we stopped being ourselves for 3 months.
And it showed
4
so much
months.
clarity because, I mean, I know everyone's feeling it. Like, the whole world has been feeling like, oh, man, what is this life that we're living with, they say global warming. I like to call it global pollution.
Yeah. I like that.
It's just
That's better. We should change it.
global pollution
Global pollution.
because we're fucking up our water, our land, the oceans, the air, and like even all the protests that were going on with the motion of global warming.
Mm-hmm.
It would have never done so good.
Nope.
Compared to what's happening now.
Yeah.
This is like an inadvertent protest to global pollution.
This is a subconscious evolution that we don't understand yet. We'll understand it later. But for now, express, expose, but at the end, find clarity and growth. With less anger. Be angry, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're done with the rally or the poetry or the sharing, then you know what? Let me research my passion. Because whatever you're doing right now, it's like separate from another thing. And then if you keep on doing that, then once you get the clarity, it's like a personal enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Clarity, and I mean, you can mix, as long as you're mixing clarity and critical together.
Yeah.
With anger or whatever you want to
Yeah.
use, I think you're okay. It'll be okay.
Just add on clarity. Because if you're angry and okay.
It's okay to be angry, right?
Self-analyze. Self-analyze.
Okay. I mean, it's okay to be angry and passionate about
Nothing wrong
someone
being
getting
angry.
about your brother or sister getting shot.
Yeah.
By police.
Well, here's the thing, right? That happened. That happens in my country. That happens here in the United States. In my country too. That happens in Africa. All right. That happens in Venezuela,
Mm-hmm.
Palestine, Israel. It happens. And I'm hurt. Before I would cry because I wasn't healed when I share something like this, because I get so angry. And is there anything I could do about it? Because they're not here no more. They pass. But I've been there. You don't die. You go somewhere and then you come back here. That's why I'm weird like this. I just love people even though they're like, that person's bad or an asshole or a backstabber. I go to that person like a coworker or a friend, throw you at the bus, and I hug them, and they're like, later on they admit, I'm sorry, Joe, I was going through shit, and some families dying, or someone's an addict and fight every day. I just want to fight. I was like, I've been there. That's why I go, I hug them. Yes, if it happens, do something about it. Meaning, do something with your heart, your brain, and your gut. at the same time, not just the brain. Brain's very dangerous. And I lived this life too. Oh, you hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you too. And there's a saying, if it's eye to eye every time, the world would be blind.
Mhm.
I don't want to be blind. I've been for the longest time. I've been angry at people and myself.
Mhm.
So that's why I absolutely, if there's pain, yes, there's so many people rallying, and I'm grateful for them because they're exposing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you because you're showing the world the contrasts and your own personal point of view authentically. But with me, it's different because I died. I went somewhere. I have a different way of exposing things. I expose it with my heart. I expose it with my authenticity.
Mhm.
Even though it hurts me sometimes because people go, oh, you did that, and I'm like, whoa. I share that because I want people to heal. I don't want that use on me, that I'm an asshole. But thank you, I bow. Rather fight, because it's easy to fight because it's done, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no more. Unless you put gloves, it's like, yeah, and have a little beer. You knock me out. I was like, hey, how dare you? But I love you. That was a joke, but yeah. So that's how I see the world now and how I express myself.
Mhm.
So I just love people, and I love your work. I love sister's work, and she's brave. She shaved her hair, man.
Yeah.
She is brave, Man, I still cover mine. I was like, wow, it's beautiful. Good heart. So
Yeah. Yeah. And the normalization of everything has to be not broken, but the consciousness there has to be, because, like, for example, bringing up it brought a lot of attention
Oh yeah.
when she shaved her head.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Or it's interesting to see how people react to it.
Because there's different reactions to that. For
Mhm.
me, it's bravery because I'm not brave as her. Get it?
Yeah.
Some people, it's different.
And so why does it require one to be brave to shave your head?
Oh, I have insecurities with my bald head.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm slowly accepting it. I went to a ceremony, took it off.
Yeah.
But that morning I was like, So it's a process.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And an impetus to her shaving her head was she was getting catcalled a lot. When she was walking around the neighborhood, people, men being like, hey, running across the street and kind of harassing her in a way.
Serious?
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
it's so difficult to be a woman in the world, the patriarchy type of world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I will not know myself, and I respect the women out there because I know they most likely get harassed a lot and catcalled
Yeah.
by people. And yeah, it's a weird, but rooted and in our genetics, I think, as well.
It is definitely rooted in our genetics because the male, it's not just an archetype, it's like a biological urge to create,
Mhm.
to attract, to get. Literally, that's how we are. It's hard, especially these days, because we're learning, because we're evolving emotionally.
Mhm.
Not so long ago, it's like our great grandparent to get married to a 16-year-old,
Mhm.
and they're like 30. That was like doable.
Mhm.
It was acceptable. But now it's not, because we know that they're young. It's like they're not mature yet. Yes,
Mhm.
some mature fast, but some don't.
Yeah.
But our animal urges, they're there. It'll never go away.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's there. We just need to learn to educate ourselves and the people around us, because we were young before. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, what's up, girl? What's up? And now I was like, wow. I'm like, and then but yeah, definitely. But that kind of action is actually yeah, very, very outdated.
Yeah.
You know, and if you hear it, it's like, hey, you know what? Would you do that to your? If I do that to your sister, would you be happy? Because I've done that before, and they're like quiet. You know, like
Yeah, and she's someone's sister probably, or
yeah,
for sure someone's daughter.
right. But the problem with that is like when I was younger, I would do that too. It's like, hey, what's up, girl? You know, trying to be all freaking cool and hip.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's why it's hard for me. If you never done it, and then sure, you know, like check out, like, oh my gosh, you know, that's our biology. When we check out the feminine energy,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the biology. It goes deeper than that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always to connect the two energy, and then if you go to the biology, it gets harder because we're put here to create.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to the mountains, right? It's like, oh, it's beautiful. You're like, oh, all the birds, right? They're like, hey, I wanna, hey, let's do it. That's what they're saying. Seriously, I'm not lying. That's animals, but we're not. You know, I think who said that? Alan Watts. Pretty sure you like Alan Watts too. But yeah. Alan Watts talks about that. You know, like we're like this.
Mm-hmm.
But thing is that morality dictates new rules.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to educate our kids. I don't think I'm gonna have a kid in this lifetime. But if I in the next lifetime, yeah, I think I know how, because I'm a little bit more mature here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm not mature here, it's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll kick that guy's ass.
No, it just got me thinking because I learned that, you know, that DNA testing, 23andMe.
Oh, you did that?
No, my sister did it, and so when she did it, it kind of painted a picture of where my ancestors were.
All right, I never heard of anyone I know.
Yeah, so it's very in depth.
What are you? What are you? So judgmental. Right?
Mostly Filipino.
Right.
And Spanish.
Spanish, all of us.
And it talks about multi-generational grandparents that you that you're from, and it says, because, you know, further generations it'll be like 0.1%, 0.0 something percent.
All right.
So I had a full grandparent, probably 8 generations, that was Jewish, full Jew.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
Another generation full Indian.
Yeah. See?
Native American.
Yep.
African.
Yeah.
I think it was North African.
Not West.
But the majority is Filipino, Austronesian, and Spanish, Portuguese, and Native American, Indian, like, and then a lot of like Southeast Asian, and these like spread out.
Yeah.
And it also got me thinking, like, how many relationships that existed were like
jungle fever. That's why you're here, bro.
Were good. were good love.
Yeah.
Or rape. Or pillaging.
Yeah.
Some where I think that type of masculine energy comes from how people act today. Could it be existent from that DNA, that genetics that go far, way back? Because, you know, the Spaniards, they just like, and Portuguese, they like went worldwide. And also Genghis Khan, for example.
They gangbang everyone.
Right? So. And so that energy that is inherent in our own DNA, but it's up to each individual to like reconstruct make yourself, right?
Wow. Well, that one there is we'll go back to the Akash, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll just go to our biology, our DNA, you know. So you are black, Jewish, Asian, and Spanish, Portuguese. So
Native American.
Native American.
And Indian.
And Indian. So Indian, yeah. 'Cause that was our writing before. So weird, in a beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of our trauma and pain, we carry it on our DNA. Because a lot of people, they're like, nah, it's impossible. Well, these days, because of YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of interviews, and I know a lot of people who share this kind of story where, so a great grandma was like, "Oh, your kid is like my brother. He jokes around like that, and the same mannerism, and jokes around. Nasty kid." It's transferred, so you don't think the pain that they carry, the insecurity, is not transferred also when your mannerism is
Mm-hmm.
there. And then I have a story. She's 80-year-old. Forgot her name. Beautiful lady. Bought me a hat too. Not this one, but a coworker. Because I love sharing these kind of story. And when I'm by myself at the warehouse before, when I used to work at a different spot, people would go there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is it a kring? Is anybody there at the warehouse? Like, nope. And they would show up. They would share stories. They would cry. They would
Mm-hmm.
laugh. But this lady was like, yeah, I have a friend that had a daughter, but she died because something happened. And then when she died, the kid was born, their neighbor. I think they're both Chinese or Vietnamese. And when the kid was like 3 or 6 years old, she would like walk by the neighbor's house, the one that died, and hug her. Right, like, I love you because you're my first mom, but I love her too because she's my new mom. And her mom, you know Asian parents like, motherfucker, you better freaking come back here, you know. But she did it over and over, to a point that she was like upset and angry. She was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you that's not your mom. Let's go to her house. That's not your house. So they went in the house, right? The problem is, she named the uncles on the picture that's in black and white. And their nickname. So if we carry, that's why I like to do the healing part of things, life coaching. If you carry those things right now, those memories, biological, energetic, emotional, you're not gonna have a good life if you don't know how to sever from that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can claim your existence right now, guess what happens? That's my past. It's not me anymore. I'm going to let it go by creating these habits. Just 3 habits.
That's just a strong word, claim.
Yeah. It's hard. Mirror. You claim that mirror, that reflection. You have to change first, not the reflection. That's what people do. That's the problem. This person did this. No. I change first, and then if this person do that again, he'll see me the way I'm handling life, and maybe this person will be inspired by my action. Again, I go back to you, Brandon, and a whole bunch of these artists. I saw you guys. I was like, man, you guys, this confidence. Maybe you don't fit in that confidence that I put you in a pedestal or these other people. But to me, that's like a crown. I want that crown. How? I can't steal that crown. That's pretending.
Yeah.
So I have to work on myself. But that's the inspiration is clearly non-physical.
Mm-hmm. And there is the full circle of going back to the self.
Yes.
And
you understand. We talked about this before, man.
And going
Goose
back.
pimples, bro. Come on.
And going back
Preach
to the
that.
self.
Preach that.
You inspire others to become better selves.
I try every day.
This is what I am understanding, and I feel you with what you're saying.
See, still there, bro. See, that's truth there. Cause I know you're gonna say something like, this is the woo-woo part. When you're getting these crazy goose woo-woo, it's like woo-woo. You're giving me information beyond words, and I'm trying to regurgitate that later on. That's how I learn from people. I met like 2 beautiful people at the beach when I went there to meditate at Santa Cruz, and it's so funny. I was like looking for a lighter because I have a sage, to burn that, get the evil spirit.
Sage that shit up.
Or the corona, you know. And the armpit too. And then the one I bought, it died. So I was like, I'm gonna look for this. I need a lighter. So I was looking around, but when I look for a lighter, I look for this energy. And I was looking around, I was like, nope, I don't see it. And finally I saw this couple. I was like, I went there and I was like, hey, excuse me, you know, I knew right away they're healers. And I just started like channeling, you know, or sharing energy. And then all of a sudden I checked their Instagram when I was done. Oh, I was right. Beautiful people, man. Just freaking straight up inspiring and healing people. So I was like, wow, that kind of communication.
Yeah,
when you get those goose pimples.
The goose pimples. Well, that's I like what you said about that's a different form of communication. It's through actually physical feeling.
Psychology, bro.
The mind, the heart, and the stomach.
Stomach.
Right?
Stomach knows. Because you eat not because your mind says you need to eat. It's like, okay, it's time to eat. All right. The mind's always behind.
You gotta eat, fucker.
Yeah, like, eat.
But
yeah, the burrito.
If you want to heal some shit, right here, man.
You gotta eat right.
Giant.
Oh, shit.
Freaking sage.
God.
That'll be the cure for corona.
That will cure the whole town, bro. Yeah, my see, I life coach, but I also have a life coach myself.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah, they're like, dude, I think you overdo it with the sage, because I make sure your eyes red. Bro. I was like, it's like they do it. They do this and they're done. With me, I was like, you know, we have to go 33 times, or just 3 times, you know. So now I'm learning.
Go in every single room. Man.
Every single room, 3 times, you know. But I learned how to minimize it. See, I'm learning too.
Yeah.
I didn't know you have to like make sure that, you know, your neighbors would smell it for 3 days. I did not know that.
It's a good smell, though.
It's a good smell, but some people they don't dig it. So,
what are some of the things that you ask your life coach, or what are some questions as a life coach that you ask people?
Well, how do you make your day?
That's the first question. Is that usually the first question?
Well, whatever comes out. It's just a channel, because when I read stuff, I just lose it. Or memorize stuff, I forget.
Yeah.
So, because you ask, because I'm pretending I'm life coaching you. So yeah. Or I start with I look around. So this is how I do it.
Yeah.
So it's authentic. I look around. I was like, wow, your life is like that blanket. It has different layers. But if you look at the back, there's layers that not a lot of people see. But you have that layer is just freaking awesome and beautiful. You need to show the other layer. So I like life coaching you. And then when a person, because when a person looking for a life coach, there's something that they want accepted and acknowledged, not healed. But healing is good too. I try not to use the word, but acceptance and acknowledgement. If you accept it and you acknowledge it, it goes away, no matter what it is, and then you can call it healing. So the layers on that beautiful pattern has inconsistencies at the back, but guess what? And I throw it back at them. I have inconsistencies, so I become vulnerable. Right? Right? And then
I've been learning to be more vulnerable as well.
Yeah. Well, you share a bunch of vulnerable stuff with me, so it's like I was like, oh, what needs to change? You know, it's like. But yeah, you're right though. I don't see that layer. But you saying that, I'm grateful. And then I add more. I bring the 3s because I have 1,000,000 3s. You know.
Yeah.
That's the one I write down. You're like the car when you're driving. That's how you program the mind. If you're driving a lot, then I use that. If you walk a lot, I use that.
That makes sense.
If you like to look in the mirror, you like to do selfie, like 1,000,000 of them, I use that too.
And it's good to like check in with yourself.
Absolutely.
Which like I feel like is what that practice is in a way, the 3s practice that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people just forget to check in with themselves on It could even be a weekly basis. And
Yeah.
kind of scan through
Yeah.
what you went through and how you dealt with it. And checking in is a good thing to do.
Journaling.
Journaling.
Number one. That's and then you can make that to threes. You journal 3 things about yourself, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Do 3 different things, because that's how you rewire the brain.
Yeah.
Or what I do, rewiring. Like
Okay.
personally, what I do is when I drive, I will intentionally exit to a street that I don't know,
Yeah.
and then I look at the addresses and find some synchronicity there. It's like, oh, this, like, I intentionally turn right instead of left to my house, and guess what? I found Bliss. I was like,
Bliss Street.
Bliss Street. I was like, I took a picture of it. I posted it way back. So now you create a story. Why did you find that? Because I'm in a journey. So now you have a personal conversation, and the same thing I was sharing earlier. You put your headset on, but if you're in your car, you can talk to yourself, because they think it's it's your freaking car.
Yeah. And it's good to have a bunch of tools. And it seems like you're giving people tools
Yes.
to work with, which is I've been given tools recently as well. And which is the checking in with the self.
Yeah.
And where I got that from, I was able to be a part of a men's circle.
I've seen those.
Have you heard of men's circle?
I've been invited to men's circle.
Yeah. So I just got invited. It's interesting. Like, it's all Filipino men.
Oh, really?
It's confidential, but just wanted to share the men's circle aspect of, like, I've never ever heard of a men's circle before. And it's so interesting because at face value, when you're judging, like, men's circle, it's like, okay, men's circle. And my memory just automatically goes to just hanging out with the homies.
Yeah.
And just being very masculine.
Nah, very different.
Where it's very different being a part of a men's circle, because men are not usually sharing their feelings.
No.
And voicing out how their week went, how their month went, the kind of issues that they're going through.
Yep.
And being a part of this men's circle has given me the ability to speak about feelings with men.
Yep.
Whether it be like alpha or omega, whatever.
Yep.
And so what it's brought me to a mind state of that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I feel less alone being a part of this men's circle.
Yep.
Knowing that there's other people out there experiencing similar things, and if not greater things, in magnitude of the spectrum of emotion. And just sharing your feelings and understanding that you're not alone in this world.
Yep.
As a man. Yeah.
That's actually beautiful to have that, because there's a level of rejection that's happening because of this shift. The masculine, feminine. There's always an exchange, the torch exchange. The cycles of time. Right now we're going through the Aquarian age. That's a different epoch. Information and transparency. It's also the exchange of the feminine, the masculine to feminine energy, because we ruled for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
If you check our history, oh man, we brutalize the feminine, and rape, pillage, took power from, and they call them witches, which is the word. We burned them. And I share this with there was a feminist group, and they want me to talk to their group, and I was like, I'm not ready for that. Yeah, maybe later on, but because I share the balance of the masculine and feminine, and I showed to them, like, hey, you guys have the masculine energy too. The way you walk, like, oh, huh? Wait, look at me, kick your ass. I was like, oh, you scared me. So that's my feminine energy. So it's we need it, because now you can't even open the door. If you open the door, that's harassment. Well, what do you think, I'm weak? some people that they gave me that attitude, and I bow. Oh, it's okay, thank you. And then later on they're like, hey, I'm sorry about that. I'm just like really on the edge right now because all this thing happening because we've been oppressed. I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you are given the torch right now. But please do not destroy us. We protected you also for thousands of years, but because of this ego, this process, this weird masculine awakening, we just controlled you. And I'm sorry. And for my family. But yeah, it's all right. It's okay. You want to express fully? It's fine. I'm not going to get mad at you. If I get mad at you, I'm a hypocrite. That's how I handle that situation. I show them my feminine side. I'm not going to tell you, fuck off. I've been saying that forever. And guess what? Like my father, he was the one who took care of us. He was a farmer. And my mom is the one who works. She was a teacher. So it got switched. That's what I express.
In the Philippines?
In the Philippines. But he's the one who took care of us, who cooked and everything. And it's not right for some people, but to me it's perfect. It's like perfect balance. And yes, we have to be in that process of change, that we're there with a feminine hand to help, because we clutched their freedom for thousands of years. But if you check thousands of years when the feminine energy was ruling, and you can check this in ancient books, I don't have to name any of them, they were the rulers. And the Egyptians, they're the one who picked the king, the feminine energy.
Yeah.
So there's a process of change, and because there's ignorance, that's all. We reach different yugas in the Hindu, and we lose information of the divinity of the feminine, and we just overpower with the masculine. And overpowering is not good. You know that. You can't. I'm always right. That's wrong. That's a masculine energy. Let's talk. That's a feminine energy. And but it's coming forth right now. How? If you go to Saudi Arabia, they're like driving now. Before, they won't allow that. That's a big change. Big change. Here in the United States, a lot of leaders are female, beautiful females, and a lot of rulers, but like what I said, my thing is like, don't destroy us. We're learning. Teach us, because a lot of us are listening. And if we're having a men group, the men group is actually a lot of the feminine energy coming out, trying to heal ourselves. Because if we heal ourselves first, we help you heal also. That's why that's actually very shamanic. The masculine. I never went, but I got invited a couple of times. Different groups, like this is hippie masculine type, and there's like office people. But yeah, I kind of knew already. Reading the energy of people who invites me, I was like, wow, that's what's happening. But I'm more in the but I will definitely go check it out one of these days. I'm like that,
Yeah, it's not physical. It's through Zoom, online platform, because
you're not like go there
because of COVID, so it makes it a lot easier to be a part of it. Whereas if I were normally, it would be hard to drive somewhere.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of time to drive there and have a conversation and then drive with a group.
That's really good, by the way. That's really good.
But it's been healing for sure.
Definitely. We need that, and just to put it out there, this is a men's group that we're doing something. It's not like a men's group you're not allowed here.
Yeah.
Because it's never like that, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Where there, it's just like an intimate.
It's like honoring means
honoring each other,
like
as men.
Yeah.
In this society.
And there's a merging. There's a merging of everything right now, and that's why I love talking about the ancients, dude.
Yeah.
It's happening. Information is flowing. You can't stop it.
Yeah, it's non-linear.
It's non-linear. It's cyclic, right?
Multidimensional.
You don't multidimensional. You don't have it. You don't have to go to school right now to be educated because you learn not linearly, cyclically.
Yeah.
All you have to do right now. This is what I teach people, and it's like, dude, you shouldn't share that. It's like, no, why not? Dude, information is free right now. You want to be smart and full of wisdom. Research people who are wise. Don't read the book. Read the people who read 1,000 books, because the information needed that needs to be heard anyways is just that single line. That single line represents 50 pages.
Yeah, sometimes when you just open a book that you never finish it,
No.
but you get
I never finished the book in my
but you
life.
get the information that you need that's in that book. The
Yes.
most important information sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be the whole book. It could just be a chapter that
Yeah.
has fully inspired you.
And if you like psychology, you put your hand on the book, you open the page, you look at it, and then that's the day.
Yeah.
That's the day you'll share that information that will heal or help people evolve. And I since I was young, because I don't know how to read linearly, because by the third page I don't remember the first. That's why
Yeah.
I never read. So that's why, man, gone a long way. I love life now. You know?
That's good. I'm
Just
glad.
love life.
I'm happy for
Yeah.
you,
Thank you, man.
and you make me happy.
Oh, thank you, man. So,
Yeah, but like to go back to the example of the book, well, it was by Deepak Chopra. It was called something about synchronicity.
yeah, he wrote a lot of books.
Yeah, what was that book called? Synchronicity, Deepak. But that was like one of the first books that it's called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire, right? And it was given to me by a classmate in college, and she actually gave me a bunch of books, a bunch of, like, even Angel Numbers was in this like bunch of books.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah,
You go deep
like
with synchronicity.
Doreen Virtue, and
Yep.
there was also Urantia, this supposedly the full Bible, or more things that were taken out from the Bible that are
esoterics. Those are the ones that
the
eliminated
esoterics, right?
because they're too.
Yeah, so The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire, this book right here, there's a compass on it. And what was interesting is that I never finished the book. I just read this one part that talked about synchronicity and energy. Something about paying attention to something, and while you're paying attention to it, it attracts energy.
Yeah.
And after reading that chapter, I decided to try it out. And so I consciously was like, okay, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to pay attention and just be aware of my surroundings. And I'm just walking to the bus. This is in San Francisco. I'm going to school, Academy of Art, downtown San Francisco. I hop on the bus, and I get on the bus, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, okay, the bus is starting to go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, okay, what am I going to take notice of? And then I look down at my shoe, and there's a toy duck next to my
Yeah, I remember
my
that.
foot. I've told you the story before.
Yeah.
And as I was looking at the duck, I was like, okay, that might be something, right? And fast forward, I get to school. It's a digital photography class at the academy. And as I was getting to my seat, I noticed this lady who is walking, or my classmate that's walking across from me. And she looked like she was up to something. And then she goes to the back of the shelf, and then she like pulls out a duck, a stuffed toy duck. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa. And then once she took it out, my teacher was like, hey, Mike, do you want to be a part of this photo shoot for this the class project? Usually I'd be shy and I'd be saying no.
Yeah.
But just
Trigger.
because I was aware and noticed that energy, I was like, let's try something
Let's try
different.
something, yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And it happened to be like one of the funnest
Yeah.
classes like that day because of me participating. And it's crazy how much the energy of the day changed because of it. And it was like so much good vibes. And
yeah, the universe. Young's work again. The universe how do you say that? The universe, once you open to it, the emotion and the third eye for things, it becomes prominent. It's not like an accident here, an accident there, but after that you got more, right? Like it's like every week and then every day, right?
Yeah, because it's like, every week, every day you start noticing more coincidences.
Yeah.
And it, for one thing, now that I'm thinking about it, it helps you to see your pattern.
Yeah.
And to change patterns, because we're very pattern-like people.
Yeah.
Like it's represented in our artwork.
Yes.
In paintings, we do lots of patterns. The blanket, the Mexican blanket that you see over there is all pattern, and so which they were like doing symbols of. There's like meaning to all the pattern, is what I heard, and being able to harness that. And actually, there's like a key phrase on the bottom of this book that says, "Harnessing the infinite power of coincidence."
Yes. Exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. Because you said yes, all you have to do is say yes once to the sign, and wholeheartedly let it in. That's the hardest thing, because we don't believe in magic anymore. How can you not believe in magic when our atoms in our body spinning for billions of years? What happened to the law of thermodynamics? Billions of years. What powers it? There's no propellers there. But thing is that once you understand the deep patterns of reality, I think John Gates, this physicist, he found like dinkras in our reality that we talked about.
Dinkas?
Dinkras, like these patterns. But there's like pixelation. If you have a super powerful microscope, you see pixelation in our reality. It's so crazy. So there's patterns, but you don't have to go there. You can go further with the ancients. They knew about the fractal patterns, the Fibonacci sequence, the numbers that repeat, and it's very intelligent. The stars follow it. The flowers, heck, our body is a big fractal that followed this sequence.
Yeah.
And once you tap into that, and we always have this conversation about the synchronicity. Remember when I was looking for the crow shirt, and I was like, I'm gonna look for a crow shirt, and then and all of a sudden we got these crazy signs, and we end up going. I bought one, right?
Yeah,
we're just joking around about it, right?
It was a crow sweatshirt.
And that wasn't the first.
Yeah.
That wasn't the second. And these synchronicities, it's been happening. You just got to be open to it. There you go.
Yeah, and it's in the art as well. Like a lot of the ancient artists put the Fibonacci sequence as their composition.
Yeah. And they didn't have
The
calculators or computers, but they knew. And nature, the bees, they never study physics, but how come they create these hexagonal? They're perfect. Who coached them? Who's their life coach?
Who taught them that sacred shape?
That sacred shape. But we just copy it. Like all the structures in our house, the strongest structures, we copy it from nature.
Yeah, and that's interesting because the last podcast I had another creative, DeAndre.
Yeah.
He was emphasizing with his artwork how much he goes back to nature and looking for creativity, just going back to nature.
Yeah.
That's the best place of inspiration.
We are. When I was young, I couldn't, I would fail this test. Like, write down if this is natural or man-made. I failed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, what were the pictures?
Well, like building.
Building?
Right?
Yeah.
I can't tell. Because bee that builds its honeycomb, they grab whatever's out there and they create that as their home, right?
Mm-hmm.
We grab the mud, the concrete, and we create buildings. What's the difference? I
True.
freaking failed that. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I passed this. And then the teacher's looking at me like, this is the trouble child.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, because
So
I feel like I've had experiences similar where it's just like, man, this logical,
yeah, when you're kids, right?
logically reading this, I'm like, it could be this, it could be
It could be
that.
that, yeah.
And I feel like there's no right answer to this. So
Yeah.
why am I having such
We
trouble being creative with how I'm thinking? Because you're thinking very creatively. Like, yeah, but B's create a structure.
Philippines, if you're wrong, they grab your ear.
I heard
That's how you
schooling
learn.
was
That's
very,
why I learned.
Very violent during
Grab your
school.
ear.
Right?
And
My
then-
my Lolo said they used to, if you didn't cut your nails, they'd slap it with a ruler,
oh yeah.
or they would have you, if you're doing something wrong, they'd have you kneel on salt,
Salt, yeah.
and then hold books
Yeah.
like this.
Oh, it happened to me. All of them.
Right.
Freaking awesome, bro. But it's a beautiful lesson, and yeah, that's why growing up, I knew already that I'm gonna have a hard time functioning in this body, like ABC, right? A, by the third the A looks different because you're trying to be creative. You don't, as a natural divine being created by an amazing intelligent source, we're not supposed to copy. I'm not saying, when I say not supposed to copy, doesn't mean you're not gonna like copy, but meaning we're supposed to be learning how to regurgitate information, and then after that expand. Learning new information, expand. We're not supposed to be always regurgitating what we learned from school, from work. You always try to have maybe that weekend of your time, of your creation, that you just transform something to that you never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're supposed to be. Why? And people go, oh, that's impossible. Well, like the most amazing artists, they don't give a shit. The most amazing physicists, they said, no, that's not truth. But a lot of them, like, who's that guy that got burned at the stake? Giordano Bruno. Yeah, because he said the world is and he got burned at the stake.
He got burned.
So a lot of people before who try to express their divine creativity, they got burned. That's why I tell people right now we're actually in closer to the golden age, because we're here. We're able to express ourselves in the artistic level that we're not really, there's no border. Because in some countries, if you say something wrong about a certain group, you're gone. Here you can say anything. That's why we should cherish and love existing here in the United States. You gotta love where you're at.
Yeah.
Because some country, dude, they literally, you're not gonna exist.
It's archaic in some countries.
Yes. Beautiful word, man. Archaic.
Well, JoJo, I just want to thank you for being a part of this podcast. This is episode 2. I appreciate you.
Oh, me
And
too.
All your words of wisdom and your beautiful energy. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's already 4:30. I think we've been at this for almost 3 hours.
Damn.
I think. Because you came here at 1:30. So.
Is it? Yeah. But well, I'm so grateful for you. And if you don't know, I've learned so much from you. And like I said, the mandalas I was doing, I was just doing circles before. So I got that from you and Brandon. So I'm inspired and grateful for you guys' energy and for your invitation, because I'm able to express myself. 'Cause this is hard for me, especially if there's a camera. I'm like, so I'm still learning. So
it
thank
seems
you.
natural.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself with less fear and more love. And we can get it wrong, we can get it done. That's Abraham Hicks. You can't get it wrong, because every time you make a mistake, guess what? That's a lesson. and you can't get it done because every time you finish a project, you finish an awesome movie, you always start something new. You always watch a better movie. So we never stop in this journey until we're dead. And guess what? I died. I've been there. It's beautiful, but we always come back. So whatever you're doing here right now, untied laces, tie it. So when you come back, you don't have to worry about it. And don't ever believe what I say, but don't disbelieve it. Always research. But my number one thing, love yourself more and forgive. Because I'm still learning a lot of that stuff. So thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
And until the next time.
Till the next time. Thank you, JoJo.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it, sir.
You're the man, bro. Don't forget.